Rajko, stavljam ovdje ispod. They don't have bottles. This is the filter, no. Well, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Elmhurst Seventh-day Adventist Church and the Community Lifestyle Center, I'm delighted to welcome you to today's highly anticipated lecture, Game Changers in Cardiology, Holistic Heart Health Solutions. We're honored to have you join us this afternoon as we explore groundbreaking insights into improving cardiovascular health through natural and holistic approaches. Just some housekeeping logistics before we dive in. In the unlikely event of an emergency exits are clearly marked throughout the building. Restrooms are located in the foyer by the drinking fountains. And today's session is being live streamed on YouTube and Facebook, and a recording will be available to watch later. So please note that attending this session also indicates your consent to being recorded. Now, the information shared during this presentation is for educational purposes and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice or treatment. If you do have specific health concerns, please consult a licensed healthcare professional. Always seek guidance from your doctor or qualified provider regarding medical questions, and of course, in case of an emergency, dial 911. While Dr. Bisevac will share practical and empowering insights, this presentation does not establish a physician-patient relationship with him or affiliated entities. So our speaker today is Dr. Ray Bisevac. He's a naturopathic doctor and board certified in anti-aging and functional medicine. Dr. Ray grew up in a remote village in the mountains of Serbia, where he was deeply immersed in an ancient culture far from civilization. His family is rooted in the tradition of natural healing, which extends across many generations. And one notable family relation is the famous Serbian inventor Nikola Tesla. Many know Tesla for his inventions in electricity, but few are aware of his work in energy medicine. Dr. Ray also uses some of the methods and principles of Tesla in his practice. Now, Dr. Ray has followed an unusual educational path, obtaining degrees in journalism, New Testament theology, and naturopathy with short stints studying andragogy, which is the education of the study of adults, and psychotherapy. He's board certified in functional medicine and is a fellow of the American Academy of Anti-Aging and Regenerative Medicine. For over 20 years in the Chicagoland area, Dr. Ray has been educating and counseling several practitioners in the area of functional medicine, as well as maintaining a thriving practice. Now, with cardiovascular disease being the leading cause of death in the developed world, Dr. Ray is passionate about reversing this alarming trend by empowering individuals with natural, holistic strategies for heart health. So today you'll learn the root causes of cardiovascular disease and how to address them holistically, discover the critical role of nitric oxide, which is termed the miracle molecule of life, and learn simple techniques to naturally boost nitric oxide production in the body to promote heart health and vitality. For all of those physically present here in attendance today, you will receive a copy of The Ministry of Healing by Ellen G. White, which is a timeless guide on health and spiritual well-being. Before I invite Dr. Ray to come up, let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this afternoon to learn about the incredible ways you've designed our bodies. We ask for your blessing on Dr. Ray as he shares his knowledge and insights with us. May the information presented today inspire us to live healthier and more abundant lives, glorifying you in all that we do. We invite your Holy Spirit to be present with us during this seminar. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Without further delay, Dr. Ray.
Hello, my friends and family. Exciting day. Even if it's cold outside, it's warm in your hearts, right? And our hearts. Thank you, Angela, for introduction. I really like her health nuggets this morning. Did you pay attention to her health nuggets? That was amazing. And she was mentioning sulfur-containing components, and I will talk about it a little bit today as well. It's extremely important for cardiovascular diseases in general. And this is a huge, huge subject for me my whole life and today, because we are dealing with the enemy number one. The most people in the world die for heart disease. You know, every other person. It's a lot at stake. And Jesus had a story in the Bible where this man is working out a field and finds a treasure. And then he sells all his possessions to be able to buy this field because he said it's such a big treasure, right? So if cardiovascular disease is number one killer, if we can potentially find a solution, wouldn't you want to know that? Wouldn't you want to sell everything you have to get possession of the knowledge? It happens to be free lecture though. But wouldn't you be excited to know what is the answer? So today we are going to tackle the subject that is extremely complex, but can be also extremely simply explained. Albert Einstein, one of his favorite statements was, make things as simple as possible, but not any simpler than that. So we're dealing with a complex subject that I will do my best to present in a way that hopefully all of you would go home understanding. I actually heard before a lecture a couple of my friends telling me, oh, should I attend this lecture? Maybe it's too complicated, you're a doctor, maybe it's going to be over my head. Really, my goal is that it's not going to be over your head. That actually you walk out of here, I hope, and believe that you will understand what I'm talking about, even that it's a complex subject. Is this going in a reverse order? It's a little bit not acting here. I'm pressing down, but it's not acting. Let me just see if they can fix it over there. The battery is not making contact. We should probably get a different pointer. We already went through disclaimer. So is it just going slowly? Should I press longer? Are you able to activate the other pointer? I apologize for delay. I don't know if this is going to work. Just press here. Hi, that's working. Thank you very much. So now I have two wipers in front of me. I can take one out. All right. Causation. This is a big word. What is causing something, right? And this is going on in politics. You did it, right? No, you did it. In personal relationships, in life, in businesses, we want to know who caused what. And when it comes to diseases like this, we absolutely need to know what was, who is the cause. We cannot find solution. What happened now? I lost it. So do just slide? Yeah, slide, okay. So we need to know what is the solution to that. I apologize. And just slides, just swipe, right? And there's this proverb from Latin world. I studied this when I was even in high school and gymnasium. It's repetitio mater studiorum, which means repetition is the mother of learning. Isn't it interesting? If you keep repeating to children, even in the Old Testament, it says, repeat to your children the law and teach them, and they're going to continue their way. But what if the wrong information is being repeated? Right? They're going to learn wrong. What if the whole society is keeping the same misinformation and keep telling you everywhere? And this is what I find is the case with cardiovascular diseases. What if the wrong information is being served to us? Even in the functional medicine world, I find a lot of information or half information. There's a satirical song I heard when I was younger, everybody knows. It's a satirical song everybody knows, but not everybody really knows. So everybody knows that cholesterol causes heart disease. And you heard this a million times. Cholesterol causes heart disease. If it gets repeated a million times, you're going to believe it. What if it's not? What if it has connection, but it's not exactly how it was explained? So we're going to look at that because we cannot find solution unless we understand the essence of the problem. And if we keep repeating the same mantra, maybe we have believed the premise that is not true on its own. Successful doctor should always be a detective as well. You need to be a detective. You cannot just repeat information, whatever is served. So the state of United States health right now is not, everybody knows this. This one everybody knows. Kennedy was talking about it. We are almost at the bottom of industrialist world when it comes to life expectancy. 22nd out of 23 industrialist nations. Look at performance, level of health. We are almost at the bottom of all parameters in the world in terms of status of our health. Yet, you know what we're number one? We are number one in spending. We spend twice as much compared to any other country in the world. If you run the business, any of you run business, if your neighbor had the same business, and if he was making 10 times better achievement, you're spending less money, and you spend twice as much money, and you're not making, would you not start asking a question, what am I doing wrong in my business? And it's not a joke. Look at this bottom figure. When I was teaching this in 2006, it was $2 trillion spent in the U.S. on healthcare, which we can probably more call disease care. 2014, 3.8 trillion. And we are right now close to around 5 trillion. Most countries in the world do not have GPD, how much we spend on disease care, right? So when I saw this, I was thinking to run for United States president. Because if I could save you $4 trillion, wouldn't you vote for me? And I was thinking about it. That would be awesome. I'm going to propose my idea. I'll be United States president. I didn't pay any hush money. I didn't make anything crazy. I could be a decent president. Then I realized I was not born in this country, so I cannot do it. But if somebody can save $4 trillion, that would be a big deal. In other words, we should really kind of scratch our head a little bit and think, what are we doing wrong? And if you're not thinking as a citizens do, complaining, trying to find a solution, then we are contributing to that $5 trillion, in my mind, possibly loss that can be resolved. And if that $5 trillion number one killer is cardiovascular, isn't it appropriate for us to find solution? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We probably have to stop what we're doing and find better solution. So causation. Were you ever mesmerized by crime movies and novels? I was when I was a teenager. Isn't something interesting about teenagers? We have kids, teenagers, they always want to have suspense novels, because there's excitement. And you know what is about suspense novels or movies? Because you never know who actually did it. And in America, there's this term, whodunit. Initially, I was thinking, this is bad grammar. But anyway, there's the whole collection of these whodunit movies, right? And I looked online, I was shocked. There's a collection of, Clue, Blowout, 25 best whodunit movie. Alfred Hitchcock movies were popular when I was a teenager, and what is suspense? Because you do not know who did it. And because whatever looked like a solution was not. And you have maybe 4 or 5, people that might be killers or culprit, and at the end it's something completely different. And that's what we're dealing today. I don't know if you ever went to escape rooms. So if the cardio is number 1 killer of cardiovascular disease, wouldn't you want to know who done it? Is it really cholesterol? Is it something else? What is the primary question patients ask after doing a blood test from the doctor? What is my cholesterol? All patients ask this. If it's high, they get concerned. General narrative for decades is the high cholesterol, especially LDL, is causative factor for CVD. Most recently, one of the functional medicine works, Dr. Peter Attia said, there is no ambiguity that LDL, especially ApoB, are causally related to atherosclerosis. And I have something else to present today. Did this cat cause collapsed roof? Did this cat really? It's here. Probably did. 100% correlation. Scientific studies are going to prove that. Cat is there, roof is down, cat damaged it. Or did cats really just found a convenient place to sit? So you have a cardiovascular disease, you have atherosclerosis, you have a person who is about to die, there is a plaque forming, cholesterol is there. Cholesterol did it. Cholesterol did it because cholesterol is there, right at the point of injury. So I'm going to guide you today to look at something that is very logical, extremely logical, and you're going to probably see differently forever in your life. So when I was younger, probably 25, 30 years ago, I just finished master's degree in theology from Andrews University, and I was thinking at that time to be pastor in church, and I was looking how can we make church more functional? At the same time, looking at medicine, looking how can we make church more functional and more effective. And I went to Willow Creek Church for 2 years. Willow Creek Church started with 20 people, ended with 25,000 people. I wanted to see how they did it, And the main pastor said, I decided to never preach a irrelevant sermon. Everybody who's preaching here, listen to that. You promise yourself to never preach irrelevant sermon. That helps with the church, right? And one of the pastors that joined Willow Creek Church was this journalist, Lee Strobel. He was an atheist, hardcore atheist. And then something happened. His wife was Christian, and something happened in his life. He became Christian. But he was an investigative journalist, one of the top. I believe Chicago was his Sun-Times or Chicago Tribune. I believe Chicago Tribune. He was one of the top journalists. So one of the cases, this is a true life story, one of the cases he was handling was shooting injury. And it was a lead story about a police officer who was shot by a gangbanger. This officer tells Lee he wants to see the assailant put away for good. It's a real story. He begins investigating and discovers that the assailant, James Dixon, has a long list of arrests, including a violent crime. So there's a person close by that happened to be who had a long history of crimes. There is a gun found in the bushes near where the shooting took place, and bullet was fired from the gun, and the gun belonged to Dixon. So Lee writes the story, Dixon pleads guilty and is sent to prison. In prison, Dixon is brutally beaten by gang members because Lee wrote that Dixon was a gang informant. The guards in the prison look away because Dixon shot a police officer. Everything fit. The bullet, gun, there was nobody else behind. This guy already has a long list of crimes. If you were reading this suspense novel, would you say, yeah, James Dixon did it. Who else? That was the only person present there, right? Isn't it logical? There was nobody there, just this criminal, police officer, gun was found, the same caliber. Is there any doubt? Would you ever question this? Wow, to surprise of Lee, stunning reversal, Lee discovers that the officer had a pen. And that happened to be not just a pen, but a pen gun. They had the same caliber as the James Dixon gun that was found there. And police officers are not allowed to have this gun. It was illegal. And police officer, not to lose his jobs, accused this criminal guy that he did it. And this guy rather plead guilty than to be tortured even further. So at the hospital, he confesses his wrong to Dixon, and police officer is now found guilty. Who would imagine there was a pen and pen gun, and he actually shot himself, police officer? Everything looked completely logical. Everything looked completely logical that the cat caused collapsed roof. Yet it didn't, right? Is cholesterol the culprit? Is cholesterol truly a criminal we need to persecute, malign, and fight to reduce to a low level? Research has shown, think about this now, and this is from Harvard Health. This is not something I'm inventing. Research has shown that about 75% of people with heart attacks do not have high cholesterol. Wow. Another article says 50%, this is Harvard Health, 75%. 75% of people that have a heart attack have a normal to low cholesterol. How? Then something is off here. Would intelligently designed body regulate cholesterol differently if you just address the true culprit? So today, we are going to address the real culprit. Like in this Lee Strobel suspense story, we're going to find who carried the pen gun. Was it really cholesterol? Are we accusing something that is good for us? Did you ever have bad stick pan versus good one? If you fry the egg in one that is scratched here and the eggs stick to the pan, would you accuse that eggs are bad? Terrible eggs. Terrible. These are awful eggs. Look, they stuck to my pan. Nobody would do that, right? What is your first thought? What would you say? Oh, I have a bad pan. What if your arteries, your cardiovascular vessels, also are meant to be non-stick? And I will show you, this is an awesome analogy, actually. Non-stick. Because why do we find at age 15 and 17 and 20 high cholesterol in the arteries? What are the arteries doing in the elderly people? Why do it go only to elderly people, usually, right? Every decade more and more, 40, 50, 60, right? So you would never accuse the eggs for a pan that is damaged. Why do we accuse cholesterol for sticking to the arteries that are supposed to be non-stick, better than non-stick pan? So something might be going on with the blood vessels first. Think about this, please, pay attention. Something's going on with the blood vessels first, before cholesterol sticks there. What if the eggs are not a problem? Eggs is a very healthy food. What if the really cholesterol is not a problem? What if it's a sticky function of cardiovascular system is a problem? Second question, why is arteriosclerosis, for example, not appearing randomly anywhere? I'm going to show you later on the cross-section of arteriosclerosis. Why do we find cholesterol just there where there is a damage? Again, this is exactly the cat in the roof. And we say, oh, the cat caused the damage. No, cholesterol is there because cholesterol is a repair mechanism. It's not a problem. If you pass by, there's a fire, and this firefighter was outside, would you say the firefighters caused the fire? Would you? Probably not, right? It's obviously they're trying to put out a fire. This is the same thing what we're talking about here. So if the function is not sticky in our body, cholesterol is there, maybe it's trying to repair something. If you have a damaged table and you go to Home Depot buy glue, and if it doesn't work, you're going to probably go and get better glue. And body has assortment of mechanisms how to address this. So first it's cholesterol, LDL. If it doesn't work, it's going to go into apolipoprotein B. And better doctors check ApoB. I tested too. So there's nothing wrong with testing. I like to test. And if it's high cholesterol, high ApoB, it does indicate something, but not to me that is causing the problem. It indicates there is the problem, and we have to fix it. That's why cholesterol rises. That's why it doesn't rise so much in children. And do you get this logic? Is that super clear, right? I'm trying to be clear. So cholesterol is being risen as a response. If you have a house that has a lot of construction workers, you would imagine there is construction going on. If there is no construction workers, nothing is going on. So think about this. If you can somehow undo the damage, cholesterol would go away. And it does. And that's the stunning story. I'm going to show you that, how to do that. So the eggs are not a problem. Firefighters didn't cause the fire. They were just there to put it out. Cholesterol is simply a repair mechanism. It's the first sentence right here. Is it the flow? Cholesterol, among many other functions, many functions, is a repair mechanism. Again, this is not my invention. I can show you tons of scientific studies. I was trying to be more, this is for public, not for doctors. I usually teach to doctors these lectures. So, but there's studies, all this stuff. Cholesterol is a repair mechanism. Nothing that I'm mentioning today has something not based on science. We just have to connect the dots. So damaged pens is another problem, FAARFM is another problem. Trust the science. So this is something that was being repeated to us a lot, especially the last 4 years with the pandemic that we had. This trust the science, trust the science. You know what is the essence of science? What is the essence of science? Essence of science is skepticism. You cannot tell me you're scientific if you constantly do not doubt something. You have to ask, is it really? Is it really? Then you prove your theory. Then you go and prove it again. That's a scientific. This is from the NASA official CSI website. Skepticism is the act of suspending judgment, the opposite of jumping to conclusions. When evaluating an explanation or claims, it allows scientists to consider all possibilities and systematically question all information in the course of an investigation. Why is maintaining skeptical outlook so important? Skepticism helps scientists to remain objective when performing scientific inquiry and research. It forces them to examine claims, their own and those of others, to be certain there's sufficient evidence to back them up. Do you see that? So during the crisis we had, it was given information, whoever would disagree, their license would be taken away. They will be persecuted because you have to agree with the narrative. There was a dogma, and similar to what I experienced in socialist countries, former Yugoslavia, Russia, all these socialist countries, you have a dogma, you listen and you shut up. And as scientists, you do not listen and shut up. You actually question and see, maybe I'm wrong. So what if you're collectively wrong? Maybe we need to find proper solution. Again, this is not, was there a movie called Rebel Without a Cause? We're not rebels without a cause. We are presenting something here highly scientific, highly logical, and please, check it out. The overfocus on cholesterol, this is not my statement, this is not a doctor who wrote this. The overfocus on cholesterol as the sole cause of heart disease is one of the greatest scams in history. British Medical Journal, one of the 3 top medical journals in the world, presented this review of the studies, and they looked at 19 cohort studies with 68,000 participants. And in these 68,000 participants, the more LDL you have, the longer you're going to live. Wow, that's complete opposite. The more cholesterol you're going to have, the longer you're going to live. Doesn't cholesterol make a damage? Well, 75% of people in hospital do not have high cholesterol. They have a heart attack. So isn't it enough that we just question? Now, if somehow money is involved, interest, for us not to see the truth, maybe we're going to be blind. What if there's so much money involved in this industry in the world that we do not want to see the truth? We want to make this status quo. Then we are not serving God, we are not serving truth, we are not serving the essence of science, we're serving interest, right? What if you really repent of that? Ellen White talks about it. When you get sick and do something wrong, repent. What if you actually say, what is really the truth? And what if you stick to the truth regardless of the consequences? Because these are the studies. What does cholesterol need? Does anybody know what cholesterol does in the body? Cholesterol is one of the most useful molecules for almost anything you can imagine. Cholesterol, every single cell, if my hand is a cell, and this is the membrane, every single cell, scientists are guessing 70 to 100 trillion cells you have in the body, every single membrane of the cell is made of cholesterol. It has also other essential fatty acids like EPA, DHA, and some other things. But cholesterol is one of the backbones of every single membrane of every single cell. If you reduce that, your membranes cannot be built properly, right? Cholesterol is also a substitute for all adrenal gonadal hormones. You cannot make hormones without cholesterol. Actually, cholesterol is almost a steroid. It has a 4-ring structure molecularly, and then goes down from cholesterol into something called pregnenolone. I don't know if you heard pregnenolone, it's sold as a supplement. Pregnenolone goes into something else called 17-alpha-pregnenolone, then to DHA, and then down to testosterone, estrogen, all this stuff comes from cholesterol. And people that go on cholesterol-lowering hunt usually end up with tons of problems, including fatigue, including reduction of hormones, because cholesterol is a building hormone for testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, everything you can imagine that gives you energy and gives you health. Cholesterol is also essential to utilize vitamin D, makes bile salts. What is a bile salt? Your gallbladder, which is digestion of fats. You know, some people drink coffee for that. I don't like coffee, but what if you have proper cholesterol, you're going to digest fats better? I thought cholesterol is fat. No, cholesterol is not a fat. But cholesterol is going to help you produce bile salts. What about mineral absorption? Well, what about myelin sheath? Does anybody know what is myelin sheath? So when you have a nerve, there is a coating around called myelin sheath. And when that gets destroyed, a lot of diseases that come, like Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis has a correlation with that as well. So it's a serious stuff. Neurotransmitters, memory, innate immune system depends on cholesterol. Do you want to kill that? Or do we want to find why it's in the atherosclerotic site? Statin drugs are marketed to the public and given like candy. There has been a debate whether they should even put it in drinking water. They were proposing to put it in drinking water for everybody, just in case. I think Barbara O'Neill was talking about it, or somebody recently, like many years ago, 40, 50 years ago, 300 was acceptable cholesterol. They went down to 280, 250, keeps going down. And you know what is correlate of that? The more they go down, the more they're going to pronounce you need a drug. So whatever was normal 50 years ago, now it's suddenly not normal, and suddenly they scare you to death. If you don't take this, you're going to die, so better lower your cholesterol. Well, it's your decision if you want to do it, but when we look at logic behind it, and is really that a culprit? The number of individuals in the general population who report taking anesthetic climbed from 31 million to 92 million, 200% increase, and this is 2019, by now it's probably more. Statin drugs, those drugs that lower cholesterol cause, this is known side effects, muscle weakness, sexual dysfunction, reduced thyroid function by inhibiting the conversion of T4 to T3, memory reduction, reduced immunity. People complain they don't remember very well. Yet, if you look at the actual truth, actual facts, 80% of cholesterol comes not from your food. It comes from glucose. Cholesterol in the body is synthesized from glucose, 80%. 20% comes from dietary intake. Out of the 20%, you know how much you absorb? 1.8%. There was actually a study done recently. I saw some even 10 years ago, people eating something insane like 15, 20 eggs a day for a few months. And cholesterol hardly changes 1%. Every day. I would not eat as much, I would get sick. But there was a study actually done. People eat an enormous amount of eggs, and cholesterol hardly moved. Because it doesn't come from dietary cholesterol. And all this care, reduce cholesterol, no, that's too much cholesterol. It's only 1.8% affects you, because it comes from glucose. Oh, where do you get glucose from? Eating too much sugar, refined carbohydrates. That's why you may know people who are on zero cholesterol diet, they have high cholesterol, probably eating too much processed carbohydrates. Or they have a damaged arteries, the body has to produce more cholesterol, trying to fix something. The same way that we have more firefighters if there's a bigger fire. Does it make sense? We don't have to go to this is a little bit complicated, but just to see at the end on the bottom what is happening with cholesterol, you produce bile acids, steroid hormones, vitamin D. That all comes from cholesterol. This is from my friend, Dr. Mark Houston. He's a cardiologist at the Vanderbilt Medical School. He shared this with me. And again, we don't have to understand all these intricacies, but on the top here, you have infinite insults. In other words, what can insult your heart cardiovascular? It can be all kinds of stuff. It can be biomechanical, blood pressure, blood flow, nutritional, toxins. It doesn't matter. Look all the way to the bottom. All these infinite, many attacks end up with 3 different finite responses. You can have inflammation, oxidative stress, and immune response. And then what comes out of that on the bottom, look to the left, is endothelial dysfunction. Does anybody know here, maybe all of you know, what is endothelial? So when you look at the inside the vessel, there is a surface inside, so that dysfunction happens from all these damages. Again, there's no mention of cholesterol here. We're talking about the endothelial dysfunction that came out of the attacks. For inflammation, oxidative stress, and immune response, we're just talking what is the problem. Structural lipoprotein, I don't know if you knew this, LDL is not the same as cholesterol. It is a lipoprotein that carries cholesterol throughout the bloodstream. It's not as simple as it's presented. And then this blue stuff, lipoprotein, apolipoprotein B, is considered also harmful. It's just embedded in the whole lipoprotein. And often we are talking also in cardiovascular medicine how crystallization is the problem, but the new studies are showing that even this crystallization is really not cholesterol. It is something else called campesterol. And campesterol has almost identical structure to cholesterol. Very tiny changes here that differentiates cholesterol if you see one tiny addition to the molecule on top. And campesterol comes from eating too much vegetable oils. Actually, we can correlate the cancer and all kinds of problems in the last 50, 60 years. The more seed oils people use, like corn oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, all those oils, they give this body campesterol, so the damage may not be even coming from cholesterol, but from campesterol. One of the first advice I would give to everybody diet-wise, avoid any kind of oil. Zero. Maybe extra virgin olive oil, a little bit, but I like to add it at the end. Coconut oil, but avoid any kind of seed oils. Zero. Not reduce, avoid it. Because the process how you destroy the seed and take antioxidants out, it causes actually the damage in the body. That's a complete lecture on its own, but just, avoid oils. Would you like to meet the culprits? It's a suspense novel I was going to tell you at the end, but I'll be your friend, I'll tell you now. So I'll explain now. This is the solution. Meet the culprits. There are 3 of them. Structural damage, nitric oxide, and glycobiology and glycocalyx. How many YouTube videos did you watch on glycocalyx? Probably not much, maybe 0. Nobody talks about it. Yeah, this is the first thing on the bottom, what happens when the body starts developing atherosclerosis, to which cholesterol responds to go to the injury site. So this is the culprit, these 3. There's more to this, but these 3 are essential. And I hope to present this in a book format soon, but this is really simple but revolutionary, and to me, absolutely matches the truth. So if the structural damage is number 1, I'm going to go, even if that's not the first thing that happens, I'm going to start with structural damage. What is the structure? Almost everything in your body needs collagen and elastin for structure. Structure is much more complex than that, but if you look at your skin, why do you find this advertisement of collagen supplements, right? If somebody has wrinkled skin, or takes collagen. Because skin has a lot of collagen, right? If you look at the muscles, if you look at the joints, if you look at the cardiovascular vessels, they're made of many things, but one of the backbones is collagen. What in the body helps the most to produce collagen? It's not collagen protein, although it's not a bad idea to buy collagen protein, but there is something else, and that something else is vitamin C. Vitamin C is the greatest secret to producing collagen in the body. This is the greatest secret that nobody knows. I'm 95 years old because I take vitamin C and hide my age. I'm just kidding, of course. So vitamin C, I'm going to give you something that you may not have heard before, but it's stunning. Did you know that every single animal, other than guinea pigs and human beings, produce vitamin C in the body? Did you know that? Cows, sheep, goats, they produce plenty of vitamin C every day. So I don't even call it vitamin. If you look at the bottom, I call it missing endogenous factor. Endogenous is a word that means from inside. There's words exogenous from the outside, endogenous from the inside. So in other words, it's something that's supposed to be inside your body, and yet you're not producing it. So there are these enzymes, several of them, the body needs to create vitamin C, from what? From glucose. So glucose is a material the body converts into vitamin C, yet every mammal has it, we don't. Maybe not all of you are Bible students. How many of you are Bible students? Did you read in the Bible when God said at one point, I'm not going to contend with human beings forever, I'm going to shorten the human age, because every thought is evil. How did God shorten human age? This is, again, a whole discussion for some other time. I'm going to give you just one trick I discovered. By mutating our ability to make vitamin C. We simply cannot make vitamin C. So if you tell me, I ate a lot of oranges, kiwi, no, that's not it. Vitamin C that we are talking about is ascorbate, not ascorbic acid. And every single animal produces ascorbate. So it's not going to help you much to buy vitamin C in the store. I mean, it will help you a little bit, but you need to buy in the store something called ascorbate. I'm going to have it written. So this stuff highlighted in bold letters is that enzyme, L-glucono gamma lactone oxidase, GLO enzyme that we have mutated. We cannot make it anymore. And this is a scientific study that shows that. This is what blood vessel looks like. And all these layers, if you look to the right, has collagen. Collagen is essential. This is a structure a little bit further of many things in the structure of the arterial wall, but collagen is right there. You have collagen, elastin, hyaluronan, proteoglycans. I'm going to talk about it as well. Collagen is essential to produce proper structure of the vessels. If this church or your home had any hole in the wall, how long would it take you before you fix it? Probably would do it right away. Even if you're doing remodeling the house, you would stop everything to fix the hole in the wall, right? So if there's a hole in the artery, body's going to send repair mechanism to fix it, which is cholesterol, apolipoprotein B. But how about we do not allow damage to happen? And one of the main things for that is vitamin C. You know how much goats produce? Goats are very close to us. They don't look like us, but they're chemically close to us. That's why goat milk is so good for you. Goats produce on a calm, sunny, warm day 12, 13 grams of vitamin C a day. That's like taking 10, tablets of 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C or 500 milligrams. If they're sick or cold, 25 grams of vitamin C goats produce. 25 grams of vitamin C, ascorbate, not ascorbic acid. And let me just see if I'm going to go to that first. Well, let me go to this first. So remember when I told you how this is an atherosclerosis, right? Do you see on top what it says? It says tear in the artery wall. There is a tear in the artery wall. Ask yourself a simple question. Why is this yellow, which is cholesterol deposit, why is the yellow not an inch further up or inch further down? It is right there where there is a tear. Did cholesterol cause the tear? No, it didn't. That's like a cat on the roof. Cat happened to be there. Cholesterol did not cause this tear. There was a weakness. And cholesterol came there to fix it because cholesterol is not 2 inches up or 2 inches down. It's exactly there where the tear happened. Do you see this? This is logical. A 5-year-old can understand. Very simple. Then we have a macrophage cells, all kinds of stuff to try to fix it, and cholesterol deposit trying to fix something, trying to repair the damage. If the damage is not repaired, what is going to happen? Think about it. Be with me now. If the damage doesn't happen, it doesn't get corrected, what's going to happen? You're going to put more cholesterol. More cholesterol. So if this is the arterial cross-section, if I put it this much, and it doesn't work, and I put more, it doesn't work, and I put more, what's going to happen? Heart attack. Because you just clogged the whole artery. And then they're going to say, oh, cholesterol caused heart attack. That's the same as police saying this criminal caused shotgun or cat caused cholesterol. So cholesterol is there, and you may even die from accumulation, but didn't cause that damage. So this is important for me that you understand. That is exactly at the damaged site. This is collagen synthesis. It's very complicated, just to show you how beautiful it is in the body. So collagen gets produced for several elements, and vitamin C is crucial. This University of Groningen study, the role of vitamin C is a PhD study showing how vitamin C, and you can take a copy and for your own sake study more at home, that vitamin C is essential for biosynthesis of collagen. Why is that skipping? Well, how do you like this? Do you like to be, what is the difference between a young person and an old person? I intentionally didn't put a photograph so nobody's offended, but, draw an image. Do you like yourself at age 50, 60, 70, or age 20? Right? Why do we get wrinkles as we get older? Do you know why you get wrinkles as you get older? Because there's no collagen enough. So all the cross-section collapses. And when you're young, you have enough collagen. Again, it's vitamin C. Do you like this old skin or young treated skin, right? It looks beautiful right there to the right? Supple. And that's what your arterial wall is supposed to be, very supple, very soft. And if it becomes wrinkly, the body's trying to fix that damage, right? Studies. Is this actually supported by studies? Because people want to run studies, and I'm going to treat you now as a highly educated doctor because a lot of you are here. And let's look if there are studies. Are we just guessing here? Are there actually studies? So normal large arteries also contain collagen, elastin, fibronectin, small amounts of osteopontin. Let's not read the whole thing. So this is a 6-year follow-up study that indicated that vitamin C supplementation reduced the slope of the mean carotid artery intima media thickness progression. Let me translate this into English. So the thickness of the damage was reduced in a 6-year usage of vitamin C. Instead of progressing more and causing heart attack and dying, in this study, vitamin C reduced the mean carotid artery intima media thickness. So the damage was actually less. So in other words, if there is no damage, body is not going to send repair mechanism. And I have seen this. I cannot show you case studies, but I have one guy that I was following for a while. He come from a family that has all huge cardiovascular issues. And we did all this stuff supported the structure and nitric oxide and glycocalyx and drastic reversal, in a positive way. So we have studies for that. I have put here, 3 studies here for your perusal later on. And most of the studies are done with only 500 milligrams of vitamin C. I suggest much more than that. 500 milligrams already made a difference in cardiovascular disease. Vitamin C evidence suggests it may help protect arteries against damage. Some studies suggest that vitamin C can slow down the progression of atherosclerosis. There is a Mount Sinai. This is all top medical journals. This is not an invention. This is top medical journals. It can stop progression of atherosclerosis by reducing the injury. Vitamin C inhibits the classification process in human vascular smooth muscle cells, American Journal of Cardiovascular Medicine. This is all top journals that vitamin C can reduce that damage. So there were 2 pioneers in the last, 30, 40 years in vitamin C research. One of them was Dr. Linus Pauling. He's the only doctor who got 2 unshared Nobel Prizes. When he was 62, he got prostate cancer, and he believed he can cure it naturally. And he started taking a lot of vitamin C, like 25, 30 grams of vitamin C a day. I'm not making a claim. He made the claim that his cancer disappeared based on such a high, and he really was cancer-free for 30 years. He died at age 92, 93, 30 years later. So he really lived 30 years older, and his cancer went into remission. He had a prostate cancer. So he was revolutionary because he was known in scientists as one of the best scientists in the world. Yet last 30 years of his life, all he was talking was vitamin C. He went around the world to talk about vitamin C and the importance of vitamin C. Then some 10, 15 years ago, there was this cardiologist from Germany, Dr. Matthias Rath. He wrote a book, Why Animals Don't Get Heart Attack. Did you know that? There's not a single animal in the wild, not domesticated animals when we feed junk animal food, but wild animals, there is not a single animal that gets heart attack. Actually, they did autopsy on animals that die, old animals, and when they look at their arteries, they're super clean, nothing, not a sign of damage, because they produce vitamin C in the body. So vitamin C is essential for structure for your face, for your neck, for your hands, and your arteries. And if there's no damage, if the pan is non-stick, eggs are not going to stick. Do you see that? So he wrote his book, and there's a lot of illustration in his book that animals do not get heart attack, and yet we do. We would actually live substantially longer, most likely. And if you read in the Bible is full of reports of people living hundreds of years. This was before the flood. My guess is that our mutation to produce vitamin C happened after the flood. Just a guess. We do not know. But people in the past, before God said, I'm going to reduce human age, lived very long. So this is Linus Pauling therapy. He suggests here vitamin C to bowel tolerance. This is probably at least 10 grams a day. Amino acids, proline, lysine, coenzyme Q10. Sounds like me. I'm suggesting all this stuff all the time. L-carnitine, niacin, vitamin E, hydrolyzed collagen. That's fine too. This is Linus Pauling. What to do to increase collagen structure. I intentionally put just generic names. You can find online whatever you want, but this is his suggestion. So what do we do for structure? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give you recommendations. So number 1 for structure, take vitamin C. Don't take ascorbic acid, take ascorbates. Go on Google, put ascorbates, not vitamin C, not vitamin C alone, right? Ascorbates. What do I suggest? I suggest at least 2 grams a day. I don't have scientific backing to tell you exactly why 2 grams a day. This is just my personal educated guess. I take more. I take about 10 grams a day. But I do not want anybody to be as healthy as me, so that's why I tell you less. So I want to keep my edge, right? But if you want to be healthy as me, I'm just joking here, of course. You know that kids love to be teased? My kids, when they were 2, 3 years old, they were able to swallow some supplements. You know how? There's something powerful about reverse psychology. So they would see me taking vitamin C, for example, say, Daddy, can I try? I said, no, you can't. Why? You're too small. You cannot do this. No, I can do it. Can I try? No, you cannot do it. There's no way. You're too small. So when you tease these kids for a few days, suddenly they were able to swallow anything because they were told they cannot do it. Try to tell your kids to take some vitamins. They will never do it. Take vitamins. They're going to say, I cannot swallow up at age 15. But tell them at age 2 or 3, they cannot swallow. They cannot do it. So if I tell you I take 10 grams, you take 2, so you're not as healthy as me, you're going to probably say, no, I want to be as healthy as you. Can I take more as well? Right? So I take more, but this is my personal best guess. I think 2 grams a day is really my thinking, again, nothing backing up. 2 grams of ascorbate minimum to preserve proper collagen production. But be consistent every day. Ascorbates are about 13 to 15 times better absorbed within cellular membrane and retain and have much better action than ascorbic acid. They also have much less any potential side effects that ascorbic acid causes, so ascorbates. Vitamin C is activated with something called bioflavonoids and bioflavonols. Bioflavonoids, like usually those citrus bioflavonoids, but they're bioflavonols. Those are grapeseed extract and pine bark extract. I didn't put it down here, but you can write it down. Grape seed extract and pine bark extract contain these bioflavonols, and they help vitamin C to be even better utilized in the body. Then we have a lot of polyphenolic compounds that are found in plants, and sulfur compounds. Angela mentioned this morning in a health nugget about sulfur compounds. I love those. And the most common in the body, biological sulfur, is called MSM, which stands for methylsulfonylmethane methane. I would highly encourage you to get some MSM as well. Sulfur compounds contained in the food are amino acids and vitamins like methionine, cysteine, homocysteine, and so on. Did any of you ever go to a spa, like a natural spa? There's one in Florida called Warm Mineral Springs. If you go to Europe, in my country, in Serbia, go anywhere in Europe. If you go to a spa that is healing spa to kind of bathe inside, did you notice that almost all of them smell like rotten eggs? Like an awful smell, right? Like a hard. And Warm Mineral Springs is Florida. Even if you come a mile close to this lake, it just stinks around. Yet these elderly people are walking in Warm Mineral Springs for miles and miles. And I have friends from church, from Yugoslavian church where I used to go, and they say, my arthritis is gone. My arthritis feels better. Just walk in the sulfur water. If sulfur can be absorbed through the skin enough to make a difference in the structure, imagine if you take it internally. So I would suggest all of you to try this second substance called MSM. About 1 gram or 2 grams a day. I take more again, but for you, 1 or 2 grams is enough. And good, the other stuff that Angela mentioned in Health Nugget today, like cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, kale, find some extra that contains all this stuff. So all these cruciferous vegetables have a lot of sulfur components. Vegetarians and vegans are notoriously known for missing sulfur-containing components. I love vegetarian diet, it's a great diet, but you need to take care of methionine and other sulfur-containing amino acids. I have a friend who, many, many years ago, he came from Africa as a missionary, and I remember the story. He said, I have a friend who was missionary, and he died from brain cancer. How is that possible? Why is somebody who's vegan so healthy? And I told him that's the most logical cancer for vegan. I said, what do you mean? Because vegan diet is so poor in sulfur-containing components, and sulfur is what cleans the brain. and liver and kidneys and your skin. You know? If you try this MSM, a lot of people say their hair kind of doubled in volume and just feels better. The skin kind of tightens up with MSM. MSM is amazing stuff for structure. It's the sulfur that is greatly missing in the food. Sulfur is the third most abundant mineral in the body. Yet you never heard much lectures about it, right? And sulfur is affecting your cardiovascular vessels. Methylsulfonylmethane is a chemical that occurs naturally in humans, as well as in green plants and animals. That's what I mentioned now. Sulfur is considered the third most abundant mineral in the human body, following calcium, phosphorus, and is primarily found in the structure of proteins like keratin in hair. Keratin in hair. Literally, everybody I know, they tried enough MSM, within a few months reported their hair kind of just perked up and skin tightened. So it's found in hair, skin, nails, contributing to their strength and flexibility. Essentially, sulfur plays a vital role in maintaining the shape and elasticity of these tissues due to its presence in protein structure. So arterial wall is going to become stronger with vitamin C and sulfur. So cholesterol doesn't have to go there because there won't be a damage. This is an effect of the 12-week dietary intake of food supplements containing collagen, MSM, and dermis density and other skin parameters. A double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized 4-way study comparing the efficacy of 3 test products. This is a double-blind randomized study. This is the gold standard, right? Everything was done right. So this 12-week study of supplementation with collagen improved skin density, texture, and wrinkles. Addition of MSM proved beneficial for improvements in skin texture and thickness. 5 grams of collagen with MSM was sufficient to improve the majority of the parameters. Interventions did not result in significant effects on TEWL and viscoelasticity. 12 weeks is not much. 3 months, people notice improvement on every parameter. So that's why I'm going to give you my personal challenge. I'm going to give you my complete personal challenge at the end, but I'm giving you right now part of my challenge. Take vitamin C 2 grams and MSM 1 to 3 grams for 3 months. Make your own private study. We'll become friends after that, probably. Maybe we're already friends. But if you do this, try that. Number 2, nitric oxide. So we discussed first culprit, the wicked fix to a great degree. Number 2 is nitric oxide. What is nitric oxide? That's an amazing molecule. Actually, there was a Nobel Prize awarded to this research. Inhibits activation. Do I have something before this? No. Okay. Inhibits activation, adhesion, aggregation of platelets, decreased leukocyte adhesivity, causes vasorelaxation in smooth muscle cells, enhances oxygen delivery. Arteries love all this stuff. Nitric oxide is a gas. It's hard to measure. Signaling molecule. Diminishes with age, making blood vessels brittle. I'm going to repeat this again. Diminishes with age, it makes your blood vessels brittle. Remember that old skin versus new skin? And if the skin is brittle, body will want to fix it. The first sign and symptoms is usually ED, provides vasodilation, smooth muscle relaxation, controls blood flow, circulation to every organ and cell. Diabetes, hypertension can come as a result of lack of nitric oxide, and also cognitive decline in Alzheimer's. People that have Alzheimer's get very low nitric oxide. And there are 3, because I'm very heavily into anti-aging, there are 3 theories how we age. There is one called telomere theory. So telomeres is the end of your DNA, and it gets shortened every year. There is mitochondrial metabolism, and there is stem cell. Nitric oxide is involved in all 3. So if you have sufficient nitric oxide, you're going to prevent all 3 causes of aging. Well, wouldn't you like to know how to increase it? If it's so significant, right? Wouldn't it be nice? This is the solution. Believe it or not, I may have mentioned in one of the health nuggets, humming is one of the awesome ways to increase nitric oxide. Humming. We drive a car, you're bored anyway, hum to whatever you listen on the radio. Why humming? And actually, there is a scientific study. This is not a guess. There is something in the head here called paranasal sinuses, and for a long time we didn't know exact function. So paranasal sinuses, when you hum, produce specific vibration. It can increase nitric oxide. You know how much? Up to 20 times. 20 times nitric oxide production can be increased if you hum. And it's free. And it's entertaining. You can maybe not entertain your neighbor in the car, but you entertain yourself. Humming increases it up to 20 times. If it's such an expensive molecule, hard to get, causes brittle arteries, why not? We should be humming every time we see in church. They said, don't interrupt me, I'm humming. Dr. Ray told me to produce nitric oxide. We're going to do this, right? Then avoid fluoride. There's all this discussion, should you have fluoride in the toothpaste? Don't. Fluoride kills stuff that creates nitric oxide. The same thing with mouthwash. Do not use any mouthwash synthetic, like Listerine, that kind of stuff. Use natural plant-based mouthwash if you need something, but do not use traditional synthetic mouthwash. Then you can go online, just type oral probiotics. This is the one I use, Adult TNT Pro. They're actually oral probiotics because your mouth is full of good bacteria as well. Should be full of good bacteria. So if you chew these tablets, it increases your microbiome, which increases nitric oxide. So there is something magical about mouth and head with nitric oxide. There is more to that I'm going to cover now, but this is the upper part. So there is something, nitrites and nitrates in food that increase nitric oxide throughout the body. We were told 10, 15 years ago how nitrates and nitrates are bad, and we discovered now they're not bad. And you know where they're found? They're found in the cruciferous vegetables. That's again, we had the health nugget this morning. So I'm using a product called Nitrogreens, but you can just Google online cruciferous vegetables as a sprouts. Did you know that broccoli, everybody knows broccoli is good, right? Broccoli is somewhat anti-carcinogenic because it contains these sulfur components. Broccoli sprouts are 300 times more anti-carcinogenic. Broccoli sprouts have 300 times more of these components. So if you can find the extract from the cruciferous vegetables that are in sprouted form, and if you need some more resources, you can talk to me later. But just Google that kind of stuff, or eat a lot of vegetables or a lot of sprouts if you can. But cruciferous vegetables, especially when they're sprouted, provide nitric oxide production in the body. And there is a Science Direct article on that. So nitric oxide half-life is only 1.8 milliseconds. You know what is 1.8 milliseconds is faster than this? Very short. 1.8, something that is so crucial in the body, half-life is only 1.8 milliseconds. You can increase that by hours if you take coenzyme Q10 and if you take other sulfuric components. What are sulfuric components? I just mentioned MSM. I mentioned methionine, cysteine, taurine, and acetylcysteine. So if you take sulfuric components and coenzyme Q10, you can extend it for hours. Would you like your nitric oxide 1.8 milliseconds or hours? Just one single coenzyme Q10 can extend it for 3 to 5 hours. I take coenzyme Q10 every day. I think you should too. So coenzyme Q10, NSC, taurine, sprouted greens, MSM. Those are the things that will increase nitric oxide. So we have MSM just 5 minutes ago related to structure, and now we see MSM related to nitric oxide. And they're both preventing cardiovascular problems. So MSM essentially for nitric oxide. Nitric oxide can go sometimes in a bad way as well, but the MSM is going to regulate proper production of nitric oxide. And I'm not going to read this whole statement here, but you can check it out. It is essential for nitric oxide production. And we're going to now go to number 3, and then we're done for today. Dismissed. I'm going to give you a quiz after that to see if you passed the test. So be ready for that. So glycobiology. Believe it or not, there was a Nobel Prize awarded last year on this. And I have a friend from Croatia, Dr. Lauds. His daughter was part of the team that got Nobel Prize. So Nobel Prize, you never heard of this? What is glycobiology? What is Glycocalyx? So it's a network that is connected with every cell in your body, every cell. If it's in every cell, we've got to know about this. So this is what the cross-section of the artery looks like. And you see these hair-like substances? That's glycocalyx. It forms almost like a gel in the body, but that's like, I have hair on my hands, right? You have hair-like substances in your intestinal system called villi. You also have that kind of stuff, similar, in walls of the arteries. So I'm going to give you now $1 million secret. This is the first that gets damaged. So out of those three, this is the first that gets damaged. And we're going to look at the solution. So when glycocalyx is damaged, then nitric oxide cannot be produced. I'm giving you a huge secret here. Glycocalyx is damaged, nitric oxide cannot be produced, then structural damage accelerates. And if you don't have enough vitamin C and MSM, you're doomed for trouble. Then, only then, body sends cholesterol, trying to fix it. Cardiovascular disease is happening, developing for years before we call it cardiovascular disease. Can you come here, please, RJ? Something got lost here. So cardiovascular disease develops for years. So please listen to this. This is important. Glycocalyx, the sugar network in the body, gets damaged first. Then nitric oxide cannot be produced. There's something called in the body endothelial nitric oxide synthase, NOS. So this NOS is what produces nitric oxide that gets damaged. I didn't touch anything, just went to. Okay. So are we clear on this? This is what happens. And now I'm going to explain to you sugars, because this is actually sugar. I thought sugar is bad for me. So there are three types of sugar. I'm kind of simplifying this. There are bad sugars you should avoid, like a table sugar, super processed carbohydrate. You should not use it, right? There is a second type of sugar, which are complex sugars, like grains, right? You should use to some amount, but not too much, right? Complex sugars like potatoes. So you have a complex sugars that are good for you, but not too much. Simple sugar, not much at all. Simple, complex. Then we have something called super complex sugars. Super complex. And they're called polysaccharides. And those super complex sugars are virtually zero in your diet. There's some, but not much. So the super complex polysaccharides is what you need for all the structure of the body. As I mentioned, every single cell in your body needs this. Why didn't we hear this in classes in elementary school, in high school, in college? Nobody talks about this, yet it's essential. And I'm going back to this startling conclusion. If cardiovascular is #1 killer in the world, why are we not told about this? Why nobody told us about this before? It's essential, and it's a key to probably saving a couple $1 trillion off our economy. You know, insurance is over the roof because of all the costs going up. So this super complex polysaccharide is important. There is a particular one that I like called arabinogalactan. This comes from white larch tree, and it's found in cell walls of the plants. So there are certain trees that have a bark of the tree, very useful, and this comes from that. It's kind of, you have to be processed to get its arabinogalactans. But the last two that I mentioned, glycocalyx and nitric oxide, equals life. This is just illustration, just to see, it's not exactly connected, but it's just illustration what it means if you look at coral reefs. Before bleaching, bleaching is in effect where coral reefs in the stress environment start releasing certain chemicals and lose their vital components. So after bleaching, look how better it looks. Then the different pH in the sea can cause damage to the coral reefs as well. All the biodiversity in the oceans depend on the proper life of coral reefs. So something similar is happening on our arterial walls. So I'm going to ask RJ to play a short video. I kind of took only 2 minutes, I believe, of that, because it was awesome explaining the video probably better than I can. So RJ, would you please run this video?
In the past, blood vessels were thought to be simple, hollow tubes. But with today's high-resolution video microscopes, a discovery reveals that the entire circulatory system is coated with a gel-like lining that protects the inside walls of the arteries, veins, and capillaries. This protective gel-like lining of the capillaries and all other blood vessels is called the glycocalyx. Its integrity is essential to the healthy function of all the cells, organs, and body systems. The glycocalyx keeps your body healthy in 3 critical ways. First, it functions as the natural trigger that stimulates the production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is vital in controlling blood flow and blood pressure. The glycocalyx stores antioxidants and, working together with nitric oxide, both increase blood flow on demand when organs call for it.
I didn't want to make it long. So, isn't it amazing? So you can be at age 50, 60, 70, full of vitality if you can know the secret. Because the glycocalyx network helps nitric oxide to be produced. Nitric oxide will make your skin smooth and your arteries smooth. And then there won't be structural damage. So this is what a cellular membrane looks like. Pay attention to this. This is just one sample of a cellular membrane. So in the middle of this, you have a bunch of stuff going on. This is the structure of the cellular membrane. So here, if you pay attention there, we have fat. It's called phospholipid bilayer. There is a little cholesterol there. There is essential fatty acid like an EPA, DHA. That's what cellular membranes are made of. Cellular membranes are pretty much made out of fat. That's why you need fat, proper fat. Bad fat is going to destroy this, right? But look at the top, that reddish kind of small balls on the top. What do you see to the right and the left? You see glycoprotein, right? And you see glycolipid. Well, lipid is fat and protein is protein. So we have a protein bound to this glyco, sugar, and lipid bound to that. So this is essential defensive mechanism and essential communication mechanism. So cell-to-cell communication cannot happen without glyconutrients. It's essential defensive mechanism for all kinds of stuff, including viral attacks. You know that viruses are dead. Viruses have to hijack the cell to function. So if you have a strong protection, viruses do not stand a chance, right? That's protection. Let's make it, I always like to use illustration because, you know, in the Bible, Jesus was always use illustration because we understand better with illustration. Let me give you an illustration. I'm going to have to jump. This is my hometown. This is where I grew up. In Serbia, Smederevo. This fortress literally is 500 years old. At that time, they didn't have sophisticated weapons. So the life in the city's safety depended on these walls, right? If enemy can penetrate these walls, they're screwed. But walls were thick. Some places were 10, 12 feet thick walls. And look, it's very tall. So at that time, there was no mechanism to easily penetrate this wall. This is what arabidopsis is. This is what glycocalyx is. It's supposed to be impenetrable stuff, wall that nothing can penetrate, including the viruses. What if you don't have that? Then you're going to be attacked. What if you don't have enough stones to build a fortress? So we're going to talk what are the stones for you to build in your real life to use this, right? So let me go back again here. So this is what it looks like from another cross-section. So all this stuff that is kind of protruding there, that's the glycocalyx. You know, there's other stuff going on there. So glycocalyx is a protective barrier on the luminal surface of all blood vessels that serves many functions. All blood vessels have this. The tertiary branch of hyaluronal creates a selectively permeable interface allowing only small molecules like water, electrolytes, and nutrients to pass through the endothelium. So in other words, the surface is almost like a guard. It's going to selectively allow good nutrients to go through, but it's going to stop enemies to go through. Again, the same like a fortress. There was a guard, there was a gate, and they would let good people go in, but stop the bad guys. But what if you don't have components to build glycocalyx? We're going to learn what it is, right? Would it be nice? Glycocalyx damage and cardiovascular consequences. Look at the second part. Cardiovascular consequences from lack of glycocalyx. With so many functions for vascular health, it probably comes as no surprise that compromised EGCX can have serious health consequences. In fact, endothelial glycocalyx deterioration is early step in the onset of basically all chronic vascular complications. That's a powerful stuff. So in other words, that wall gets damaged first. Then the army inside the wall gets killed. And then everybody gets killed, and life is ruined. So arterial walls, you're losing first this glycocalyx network. That's an early step. That's what it says here. Then body cannot produce nitric oxide, which is a molecule of life. And then structure gets damaged, and you die. Every other person of you will die from that. This is powerful. This, what arabidopsis looks like, is actually one of the most complex molecules ever discovered. These polysaccharides are measured by two parameters, how long the chain is and how branched the molecule is. So the longer it is, the more branched it is, the more powerful it is, almost like a tree. When you look outside of the tree, you rarely say that something is beautiful when it doesn't have too much branches. We usually see the tree that has a lot of branching, a lot of trees, say, wow, what a beautiful tree. So this molecule is actually more powerful if it has a lot of branching and a lot of stuff like that, right? Arabinogalactans exhibits a wide range of biological properties, immunobiological, hepatoprotective, antimutagenic, mitogenic, gas protective, membranotopic activity, probiotic, mycogenic, hypolipidemic, and immunomodulatory. Should I say this 3 times? I won't. It's stunning. Almost everything you can imagine. Protects your liver, enhances your immune system, communication, all from that complex sugar that nobody told you to eat. I'm going to tell you today. So this is nutrition and metabolism. All the time, I'm citing very high-level journals. This is nothing out of my head. I just put this together, but this all exists, just seems nobody else put it together. Large arabinogalactan effects on reducing incidence of upper respiratory infections. Wow, upper respiratory infections. Reduce the incidence of common cold infections. So throughout the winter, you should take this stuff all the time. So I'm coming to conclusion here. Just a few more slides and we're done. So I'm going to mention now all 3 again, and what are the supporting nutrients you need to take for that. For structure, vitamin C, coenzyme Q10, biocyanidins, or these bioflavonols, MSM, molybdenum helps with activation of MSM, and sulfur nutrients in general. That's number 1. That's your support. Number 2, for nitric oxide, it is sulfuric components, coenzyme Q10, N-acetylcysteine, taurine, sprouted greens, MSM. MSM works for both. MSM is amazing. Number 3, Glycocalyx, arabinogalactans. This is a white larch tree. The product I personally use is IAG. I'm trying to avoid putting my products, but they're found online. IAG is amazing. Then there is a fucoidine, which is actually cellulose of brown algae and other marine organisms. So you can find it on Amazon. Fucoidine also provides this glycocalyx structure. And medicinal mushrooms. And get medicinal mushrooms like a chaga, like reishi, and you get it from remote regions. Like for example, Siberian chaga that grows in a very cold environment is stronger than chaga grown in a warm environment. So these medicinal mushrooms provide some of these glyconutrients. A lot of people are confused what mushrooms do. I mean, regular table mushrooms are fine too, but these medicinal mushrooms are powerful because of this polysaccharides. They seem to have a lot of activity against cancer and so on. So this is the 3 nutrients, right? So this is my personal challenge to you for 9 to 12 months before we become truly friends. This is just a summary of 5. You have longer summary of the previous 3. Now I'm giving you a summary of top 5. Vitamin C as ascorbates, 1 to 3 grams. Coenzyme Q10, 100 to 200 milligrams. Arabinogalactans, IAG, 1 to 2 tablespoons. MSM, 5 to 10 capsules. And sprouted greens, 1 to 2 scoops. So if everything is too complicated, I gave you cheat sheet to start with 5. Per day? Huh? Per day. Every day, yes. Every day. So I've been doing this for decades of my life. Every day. Everybody says the health is the greatest wealth, but we usually do not behave like this. I'm challenging you for 9 to 12 months to try at least these 5, or I can go backwards to the other 3 slides and try others as well, right? It's going to help you. And I think I'm almost done here. This is my last slide. So I'm going to encourage you on a larger scale for the whole immune system, whole life, to practice gratitude. The highest form of prayer is gratitude, to thank people and thank God, whatever you have. Humor, sunlight, movement, sleep, community, and healthy eating and drinking. And we may continue some of these lectures, some of these subjects later on, but I wanted to start with this one because I think it's the most crucial to stop this killing action of every other person in the world. So why don't you go and preach the good news and gospel of proper nutrition, all in the power of Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you.